Hi, Girl Scouts. We're back again with your favorite equestrian team, Jessica and Julie. And our video today is going to demonstrate how to properly groom and get your horse ready to ride. Jessica, our assistant equestrian program specialist, will be demonstrating this for you today. So I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and you girls have a great day and a great time watching Jess.
Hello again, Girl Scouts. Today I am going to be showing you how we groom a horse, and we are going to be using our wonderfully amazing volunteer, Rosie, again. So we have all these different brushes here, and they all work together to help get our horses really nice and clean. So the one that we will start with is called a rubber curry comb. It also comes in a metal curry comb, which kind of looks like this. It looks sort of like a shedding blade for your pets if you might have one at home. But what this is mostly used for is horses grow out really long coats in the winter, and then come springtime they start to lose their coats, so this really helps to get all that hair off. But Rosie's not quite ready to lose her winter coat quite yet, so we're not going to use that. You also have to be really careful with using it because, like I said, it is metal and you could hurt the horse if you're not using it properly. So instead we're going to use our rubber curry comb, which looks like this. It has little nubbies for teeth on it, and you're just going to slide it onto your hand. And then before I walk up to Rosie, I'm going to approach her up here towards her head. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that she knows that I'm coming. Horses' eyes sit on the sides of their head, and so while she can see almost all the way around, there's two areas where she cannot see, and that's right in front of her nose here. That also includes underneath her neck, so I wouldn't want to walk underneath there because she can't see me. And then also directly behind her, she cannot see. So whenever you approach a horse, you just want to make sure you kind of approach at their shoulder so they know you're coming and so that you don't scare them. So I'm going to get started with my first brush, which is my rubber curry comb. And how this works is you actually go in nice big circles, and you can push pretty hard with it. Horses really love it because it sort of feels like a massage. And as you can see, a lot of hair is coming up. And so not only does this brush get up hair, but it also gets up dirt and mud as well. And the reason we care about getting the dirt and the mud off is because if we were going to ride Rosie, we'd have to put a saddle pad and her saddle on, and there's a piece that goes underneath here called the girth or the cinch, and you wouldn't want to put it on if she has all this mud like she does now. You wouldn't want to put it on top of that because it would rub her and it would make her sore. And when she's sore, she's not going to want you to ride her. Okay? So I'm going to go in nice big circles all across her body. I have to make sure that I get all of that dirt off. Now, we won't be riding Rosie today. We're just doing this for a demonstration. But I would have to make sure that I got all of the mud off before I can move on to my next brush. So I'm going to brush under here. Get really nice and clean. So as I mentioned earlier, this brush has little nubbies, so it's kind of on the rougher side. So I wouldn't want to do it down here on her legs because that's a really sensitive area. There's not a lot of tissue. I also, of course, then wouldn't want to use it on her face. So once I feel like I've gotten up enough of the dirt and the mud off of her body, I'm going to move on to my next brush. And of course, I'm going to be wearing a lot of the hair before I'm done. Okay? So I'm going to move on to my second brush. Like I said, these brushes all work together. So the second brush that I'm going to use is called a hard brush or a stiff brush. And you can see these bristles are really, really stiff. They're hard. They don't bend. So how I'm going to use this brush, again, I'm going to say, hey, Rosie, I'm coming to brush you. And I'm going to go the direction her hair grows. I'm not going to go in circles anymore. And as you can see, if I give it a little flick at the end, it gets a lot of that dirt and that hair off of her body. And of course, sticks to my brush too. So I'm going to use this all over her body. I want to make sure I get up here on her neck. So if you're brushing your horse and you're not covered in hair by the time you're done, you're not doing it right. Okay? So just like that rubber curry comb, these bristles are still really hard and stiff and tough, so I wouldn't use it on her legs, and I certainly wouldn't use it on her face. So I'm going to move on to my third brush, which is used on her body, and this is called a soft brush, or finishing brush. And the bristles are really, really soft, they bend, and so now, this is a brush that I could use on her legs if I'd like to. Rosie's legs are really muddy, and it's not dry yet, so I don't want to use it on her legs, but I'm going to demonstrate how you would use it if you were going to use it. So, if I'm going to brush Rosie's legs, I'm going to squat like this and kind of hover. I don't want to put my knees on the ground, okay?
Why wouldn't you put your knees on the
The
ground?
reason I don't want to put my knees on the ground is because, as Rosie's demonstrating right now, she's moving. And so if Rosie were to move towards me, it's going to take me longer to get up from my knees than it would if I just hovered and I could step out of her way. Also, if I had my knees on the ground, I might put my hand down. And if I put my hand down, Rosie could easily step on my fingers. And that would hurt really, really bad. Okay? So I just want to hover, and I would just brush her legs just like this. Okay? So also, this soft brush can be used on their face. So if I'm going to brush Rosie's face, I'm going to be nice and gentle, especially around her eye. See how she closes her eye? She's relaxing. She actually really enjoys it. Here you go. Again. And then, of course, I would do her whole body. It works the same way as your hard brush. And in the summertime, when their hair is nice and short, this brush would actually give them a really shiny look. Okay, now horses obviously have two sides, so everything I did on this side, I'd also have to do on the other side. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to do the one side. So once I brush my horse off completely, I can move on to my final brush here. And this is called a mane and tail comb. And one thing I want to say before I move on to demonstrating the mane and tail brush is that take your time brushing your horses. It's a way to bond with them. Horses really love it. As you can see, Rosie's interested. And not only does it make them look good, but it makes them feel good. Because actually when you're brushing, it's telling the horse's body to have that blood circulate. And what that does is it releases natural oils into the horse's hair. So it gives them a nice shiny coat and actually gives them protection from the weather. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to the mane and the tail brush, our final brush here. And so like I mentioned in the beginning, Rosie can't see me right now if I'm standing right behind her, all right? So horses actually get a bad reputation, and most people think that if you stand behind a horse, that means they're going to kick you. That's not necessarily true. I feel like that's a myth. Horses are prey animals, so when it comes to fight or flight, they're going to run, okay? So what happens is if you're standing behind a horse and they don't see you, they might accidentally back up into you. They're not going to purposely kick you, okay? But to be safe and to let Rosie know where we are at all times, I'm going to pull the tail to the side, just like I'm doing. So that way I can work on her tail and she knows where I am and I'm safe. So how I'm going to brush her tail, and her tail has a lot of mud in it, is I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way all the way up to the top. And the reason I start from the bottom and I don't just start from up here is so that way I don't pull out a lot of hair, okay? And as you would work your way up a horse's tail, you might notice the higher up you go, you're going to feel this bump in here. And that bump is actually the horse's tailbone. So the end of her tail is right here. And she has this bone here. And what that does is it allows her tail to move back and forth. So in the summertime, she can swish those flies off of her body. And then if I'm going to go do Rosie's mane, which actually sits on the other side, I'm going to put my hand on her. That lets her know where I am. I'm going to keep it on as I go around. And I'm going to walk my way up here to do her beautiful mane. Rosie's got a two-tone mane, black and white. And so if I go to brush her mane, just like the tail, I start from the bottom and I work my way all the way up to the top. There you go, very pretty. Horses also have bangs in between their ears here. It's called their forelock. You want to make sure you brush that as well. Alright, and there you have it. That is how to safely and properly groom your horse. It is very important that you do this every single time you go to ride. And like I said, take your time with it. It's a good time to bond with your horse. So thanks for watching, Girl Scouts. Make sure you stay healthy and safe out there. And of course, have fun.
Thank you, Jessica, for that great demonstration on keeping your horse clean. And remember, Girl Scouts, you have to do it every time you bring your horse out to be able to ride them. So we will see you next time. Remember to have fun, and you'll stay tuned. We'll have more videos coming up.